Generic space shooter. Welcome to an epic world of endless carnage where you battle alien foes at lightning-fast speeds and engage in mind-meltingly epic boss battles. Immerse yourself in a beautifully handcrafted world with visually stunning top-down graphics and unlimited action-packed levels.
Did you just read the description for like 50 games at once?
The aim of the game is very simple. Survive. Try and survive for as long as you can. The longer you are alive, the harder everything gets. New enemies will start spawning, different bosses will spawn, and the older enemies will start getting a little more aggressive. The twist is within the power-ups and spacecrafts. There are a bunch of different power-ups that can aid you when battling the enemies. Keep playing to figure out what each power-up actually does. You can unlock different spacecrafts, 30 to unlock, which all have different abilities, apart from the default one, that will enhance the power-ups in different ways. You also have the ability to slow down time at will. Everything apart from the player is slowed down. This is a very useful ability, but you only have a limited amount of time you can use it for, so use it sparingly. Earlier versions of the game.
Shit.
Earlier versions of the game were very generic, hence the name. However, I do think the game provides some very fun and unique gameplay elements.
Yeah, because if it's any opinion you want for a game, it would be the developer.
Oh. The highlighted reviews on the store page for this are, it's actually pretty good. For such a simple idea, it's got two very smart systems and it's really enjoyable. It hooked me for quite some time. By Chet and John. And this game is anything but generic. This game is a hell of a lot of fun. By Zaxtor99.
That's very weird because that's like actually the most generic description I've ever heard for anything.
Oh, generic.
It's actually pretty good, you know.
Oh, God, yeah. Electronic Arts, oh God, what are we into now?
Oh, yeah.
EA
A
Red
defunct studio production.
Weren't they the ones who were turned into Visceral, like, after this?
I don't know. Aren't Visceral defunct? If they aren't, then they will soon.
Yeah, like, sort of. They, like, EA threatened...
They got relegated to making Battlefront games, so yeah, they pretty much are.
Yeah, EA threatened to can them if Dead Space 3 didn't sell well, and then Dead Space 3 didn't sell as well as EA wanted it to.
So they all left. And then from the lifeless corpse of Visceral comes Battlefield Hardline.
No, Battlefront. Actually,
Battlefront.
no, wait. Okay,
No, it was
wait.
DICE that made Battlefront because you need the name DICE to sell your product.
Yeah, true. But Battlefield, it was, so Hardline was cross-developed by DICE and Visceral.
Right.
Guess you really miss her.
Because you need the name DICE to sell your product.
Be able to look her up what's wrong with.
It's really weird.
It's the
because
same case with
Visceral's-
BioWare. Because you know how like 5 different studios are called BioWare?
Yeah. But, like, Visceral was not a bad name, like... Because, like, I mean,
Yeah, but
Dante's
DICE is
Inferno
better.
Dante's Inferno was kind of questionable, but it wasn't a bad game. And then, like, Dead Space and Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3 and... then
No,
EA
it doesn't
was-
matter if they were good, okay? It only matters if they sold well.
I mean, Dead Space 2 sold pretty darn well.
More than Dead Space 3?
Presumably.
Oh yeah, probably. You know, I was actually confused on if I was looking at Dead Space 3 or Lost Planet 3 because those games look so similar.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find, what are the sales numbers for Dead Space 2?
Oh, honestly, I heard it was 6 million.
Yeah,
And they needed to sell like 10 million?
no, that's 3 again. Dead Space 2, reported by PlayStation Lifestyle in 2011. Dead Space 2 is approaching 2 million units sold. So that was back in 2011, like when the game kind of was still largely new.
Take us in. Let's see what you're fixing.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automatic docking
And considering the, like, considering the game, like, being a Resident Evil style sci-fi survival horror kind of title, it's
Well, it was pitched as Jaws in space.
what?
Oh wait, that was Alien. Never mind.
I was gonna say. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between the Alien
This game was
franchise
pitched as Alien in space.
and Dead. But Alien is already in space.
Well, yeah.
What the hell were you thinking?
That's why it's pitched that way. Oh
I
man,
think
I
you
forgot
mean
what
to
it looked like.
I think you mean to say Resident Evil in space.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
I'm not getting any readings from the port booster.
Dead Space 2, I don't know.
All right.
It's
Let's get some
like
extra hands from
over
Frank to
a
help
little
out.
over 3 million or something like that at least.
Hold still, Isaac. I'm syncing up everyone's
F if I can
ship.
find the like hard numbers on it.
Okay, we're done. Clean bill of health for everyone.
Oh, by the way,
We've still got a job to do. We're moving out.
I've watched this intro sequence
So many times.
yes, too many times. That's because I've encountered game breaking glitches in this game,
Oh,
so I had to restart.
that's a shit. I never have actually.
I had a glitch where a door wouldn't open, and like as what are they called? A necromorph. Necromorph was supposed to burst out of it, but it never did. So
Man.
it didn't open the door.
Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the immediately burning question on everyone's mind who has played this game on PC: are you playing with mouse and keyboard or with a controller?
I don't remember. Okay, so I played through this game, properly. This isn't actually my real playthrough.
Yeah.
This is just me doing whatever. I played through Dead Space 1 and 2 with a controller.
Okay.
I think
You didn't lose power to the port booster.
this is
You
me with a
lost the port
mouse.
booster.
I'm not sure.
So
Unbelievable.
beautiful. That's a nice landing we made there.
Yeah.
So the reason
So
Wow.
I thought I kicked that and it was still on fire.
that bag is on fire. Oh, unfortunate. So yeah, the reason why that's the burning question on everyone's mind is because people who have played this game on PC know that the mouse control in this game is utter trash.
It is like garbage. It is so bad. Like you move your mouse so slightly and it judders like half the screen. It's so like God.
Oh, I actually had the reverse problem. Trying to play this with the mouse. It didn't matter what like sensitivity or DPI my mouse was set at. No matter how much I moved scrolled the mouse, it would barely like move my camera at all.
That's probably worse because you can't do anything with that.
Yeah, like
Mine was inaccurate. Your one was like not even there.
yeah, I had to like continually lift and move my mouse to like try and scroll along the like turning around and stuff, and it barely even did
Yeah.
anything. And it was like, okay, nope, time to use a controller.
Yeah, and like adding to this being a terrible PC port, like none of the keys, like it doesn't show you any keys. It shows you Xbox buttons.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the equivalent of those were. So I was really confused on what to actually do.
Yeah, and it's extra baffling because like Dead Space 2 is actually kind of a decent PC port. Like
It's all right.
it has proper mouse control for one thing,
Yeah.
but like it has like decent kind of key bindings and everything like that as well. And it like I believe it's been a while since I played Dead Space 2, but I believe that it shows the keyboard shortcuts as well, as opposed to giving you the controller inputs.
Yes.
So have we
Everyone was trying to pack.
currently not figured out what the stomp button is?
I don't think I can stomp it. I think you need a weapon first.
There's no
I thought you could stomp from maybe.
Trust me, if I could stomp, then I would have stomped by
God,
now.
look at that guy's face.
Isaac, log in.
Don't worry, he's gonna die soon, so it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how well you model his face.
Well, he just had that very gormless expression. He's like, what am I doing
That's
here?
always the case. Like, oh, you can just tell if they're a main character or an NPC that's gonna die very soon just by looking how well, like, they're modeled.
I also noticed that we're like just constantly staring at the ground.
Yeah, I think I recorded this like a year ago. I don't remember like what I'm doing.
We're just like, Isaac's just a little bit down. He, it's just has to keep his head down as he's walking along.
Oh yeah, my favorite feature.
Yeah, we figured out where the tracker button is.
I have the rave button turned on.
That's actually not a bad feature for this game.
Well, yeah, because hey, what is the best HUD? No HUD. That's the best HUD. Because this game doesn't really have one. It's all like presented as a hologram.
It does a very good job with like the pop-up menus and like augmented reality kind of HUD, which is it was kind of one of the like selling points of the game. I don't know if it's what the actual what the marketing team sold the game on, but it's like what
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's what the fans of the game like sold it on after it came out.
Yeah, it's not a very like something. It's not something you really want to show off in a trailer.
Well, yeah, we got an invisible wall there, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate it. Like I don't have issues with heads-up displays and like graphical user interfaces and stuff in games, generally speaking. There are some that are just way too overbearing, but for the vast majority of games, I don't have any issues with them. But like in the specific case of Dead Space, it's done very well to have like just kind of this like plastered over onto the like technological kind of explanation for everything.
Yeah, even though it doesn't really make sense. For example, their spines, it shows their health bar. That's not a hologram or something that the player sees. That is actually in world their health. So it's very weird how that would be a real thing, because you could actually just see how close you are to being dead.
Yeah, and it's particularly hilarious because there are NPCs, like a lot of the NPCs, the human NPCs I should say, have the same thing, where you can just see the like spine indicator on their backs, and it shows how much health they have. And it's like, oh, that's fortunate, unfortunate, not sure which.
Yeah, as useful as having a health bar would be in real life, like I wouldn't really want one.
How would it accurately measure your level of health?
I don't know.
Also,
yeah, because like it doesn't measure like the injuries you have or blood loss or I don't know.
Yeah. Also, let's remark. Oh well, you almost had it caught in between the doors. Let's remark on how awful it is to navigate the menu on the keyboard when you don't actually have the keyboard key bindings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's why I went with controller. Like, I'm pretty sure there's someone that's like, oh, still though, even though it's a bad part, you still gotta use mouse and keyboard. There's some crazy people who play Dark Souls with mouse and keyboard.
I was just about to say there are people who play Dark Souls with a mouse and keyboard. So like, I don't understand it. Like, there's no reason why if you play primarily on PC, there's no reason you shouldn't have a controller handy, because that's one of the beauties of PC gaming is the fact that you can just use any of these input forms. Like,
yeah, okay, is it really that
oh god,
I don't think it actually works.
It phased through. No.
Yeah. Okay, is it actually that like
inconvenient?
I know to ask the player, hey, you need a controller to play our game. Like, is it really that bad?
I would not say so. Like, I think it's a perfectly legitimate point to make that some games just play better with a controller, and there are certain, like, I would not want to play Dark Souls on a mouse and keyboard. Like, I can recognize that there is a perfectly legitimate way for that control scheme to work on a mouse and keyboard, but I wouldn't want to play it on that because I've probably mentioned this, like, in the Dark Souls playthroughs, but I find that Dark Souls has one of the few control schemes that actually makes a... Oh, that's a beautiful face. Oh, thunderstorm. Great. Dark Souls has one of the few control schemes that makes third-person action combat on a controller actually feel like really good and satisfying to play.
Yes.
Because like one of the primary reasons why I like playing third-person games on a mouse and keyboard is because you can't control the camera while you're controlling your attack. And
yeah.
that's a huge issue for spatial awareness. Dark Souls solves that by having the attack buttons on the triggers instead of the face buttons. And it's very simple, but it's very elegant.
Yeah, then the lock-on is just you just press down your thumb on the stick. Like,
Yep.
Oh, thank God that's not a face button, or otherwise it would be wasted.
Also, listen to all these crashing bashings happening in the vents around us.
Oh.
I wonder if the
Well,
lights are going to go out.
I did pick up health kits. I might need them.
Yeah, I wonder if the power's going to go out and all the people in front of us are going to end up getting...
No, that's too much of a horror trope. Like, it wouldn't do
Yeah, I
that.
know, right? So there's actually... So the first time I played this game, we might actually even see the area in this video.
I doubt it.
Well, actually, I don't remember now if it was this game or if it was Dead Space 2, but I think it was this one. There's a spot you go into, like, relatively early... Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go.
What the hell was that?
Isaac's like, yeah, just health packs. You know.
Tasty health
Do I
packs.
use it? Drop it?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, there's an area fairly early on in the game where you enter a, like,
Something's in the room with
an infirmary type area or something.
Well, that's the beginning of Dead Space 2.
No, I'm not talking about, like, the escape from the asylum.
Okay, if it's not that one, then it's probably in this game.
Yeah, but yeah, you enter, like, this hospital, like, infirmary type place.
Because of course you enter a hospital in a horror game.
Yeah, and I was like,
Seemed like a waste if you didn't.
as soon as I got in, like, the lights were on, the room was bright and happy, and you know, light and everything. Oh God, peace out. And so as soon as I entered the room, I like stood there for a moment, looked around, and was like, as soon as I get further in this room, the lights are gonna go out, all the doors are gonna lock, and a bunch of enemies are just gonna appear. Oh, hello. You wanna get your arm off my shoulder, buddy? Thank you.
No, I need it.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, the doors are gonna lock, the alarms are gonna sound, the lights are gonna go off, and a bunch of enemies are gonna just jump out of nowhere and start coming towards me. And lo and behold, but did my prediction come true? Because Dead Space is a pretty tropey horror game.
Yeah. I mean, it has some original ideas, but in the end, it's a horror game. Like,
It's a very well done one. Like, I'll give it that.
oh yeah.
But it definitely plays to the cliches of the genre, for better or worse, depending on how you feel about said cliches.
Really, it was this door coming up that never opened for me one time.
Great.
So I was just stuck in this room.
That's-
I was hoping that it would happen again in this video, then I could just have a video of just me in this room.
Yeah. I never actually really experienced any significant bugs or glitches in any of the Dead Space games.
Well, that was the only time I ever had a unintentional bug.
Yeah. Like, I will say one thing for EA games is, like, they really do a poor job of oh blah. they do a poor job of not, like, homogenizing the gameplay of their titles, but well, generally speaking, they at least don't put out complete trash.
They don't. They're not Bethesda.
Is Fallout 4 like utterly broken as well?
I don't know currently, but it definitely was on launch.
I would not be surprised. Well, actually, so one thing I like about the gunplay in this game is that there are like alt fires for most of the guns.
I think for at least there's a different way you can fire.
It's alt functionality.
Yes.
And so for the plasma cutter that we have here, which is kind of the mainstay gun,
Yeah.
you can actually pivot the firing arc of the plasma
And, like,
cutter.
Instead of just turning your wrist, you could just have a function in your gun that does it for you.
Yeah, it just it literally just tilts the the barrel of the plasma cutter so that you're firing.
Yeah.
So instead of firing vertically, you're firing horizontally, and it's so useful. Like
It is,
it's actually
especially
so
if this
useful.
game encourages you to fire limbs.
Yeah, because and one of the actual like marketing things that they did for this game was the fact that you're supposed to like dynamically chop off limbs of as we can see, his leg came off. He's already dead.
Yep.
He's dead and his leg still came off. So yeah, you can dynamically dismember bodies by damaging their limbs and stuff. And
It's just
there we
like
go.
that Dead Island pre-order bonus
The disembodied torso.
of a bikini lady.
Yeah, it's unfortunate he still has his shirt on.
This appeals to someone.
You're supposed to stomp. Come on, there. Well, come on. Oh no. Go. Let's put. Stop. There you go. Yeah, it's so another weird change about Dead Space is that so in this game, Isaac is completely he's Link. Like he's silent except for his
yeah,
grunts.
exactly, yeah.
Uh
Yeah, all he has is pain noises.
yeah. His exertion and pain sounds. But then they made him talk.
I guess they kind of needed him to talk in the second game because he's more of a character. He had more stuff going on.
I wonder, like, so what are your opinions on, like, have you played Dead Space 3?
I have not. I played the demo co-op with someone else, and that was it.
All right, but you played the second game.
Yes.
So what's your opinion of where the story started to go, at least?
Where it started to go?
Yeah.
It started to go, like, pretty much the same way as this did.
Well, like, the first Dead Space game is kind of self-contained in its narrative, though.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas in Dead Space 2, they really started building up this, like, cosmic threat sort of thing. And,
Yeah.
And then in Dead Space 3, it just went completely wild.
Well, that's always the case with these types of games. Like, the first one, you're not so sure if it's turning into a franchise. Nowadays,
Yeah.
it almost always is.
Yeah.
But in that case, like, they didn't know that they were going to get a sequel because they had to work at their pitch to get it done. But I don't mind it as long as, like, it doesn't... It's okay to hint at a franchise, okay?
Yeah.
But not okay to just bait for a sequel. I don't remember how the second game ended, to be honest.
Second game ends with... Oh god, how does it end? It's been a while since I played it.
I know Isaac kills his girlfriend,
Let's
and
see.
I don't remember what happens after.
Let's look this up.
I know he had like some sort of hallucination, and it culminated into a final boss.
Let's see. Dead Space 2. Upon reaching the government sector, Isaac sends Ellie away on a gunship to protect her once society sets necromorphs onto Tideman's forces near the marker chamber. When he reaches the marker, he finds it surrounded by necromorphs, which triggers convergence. With Nicole's guidance, that would be his girlfriend, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, Nicole.
He uses the Noonlight Diagnostic Machine, a device which has been used on both himself and Strauss prior to the events of the game, activating the parts of his brain that had been affected by the marker. He fights his way to the marker where he encounters and kills Tideman. At this point, the Nicole hallucinations pull Isaac into his own mind, revealing that the only way to make the marker whole is to absorb the body and mind of the one who created it, in this case, Isaac himself. Infuriated and betrayed, Isaac destroys, quote-unquote, Nicole, and the marker codes in his mind in a grueling mental battle. Yeah, that'd be the boss fight you were talking about.
Yes.
Waking up, Isaac discovers that the marker has been rendered non-functional and that the accumulated damage to the Sprawl has resulted in its reactors melting down. Isaac slumps to the ground, ready to accept his fate, to be interrupted by Ellie, who crashes the gunship through the ceiling. The two escape as the Sprawl explodes.
Is that it?
In a post-credit scene,
Oh, yeah.
an audio transmission is heard between two people, an unknown man and his ranking superior known only as the Overseer. The subordinate relays that Titan Station, which he calls Marker Site 12, and its marker have been destroyed. The Overseer replies that the other sites will have to pick up the pieces.
Oh, yeah, now I remember. Oh, yeah, there's not just one marker. There's at least 12.
Yeah, and so...
Yeah, I don't really like that post. They shouldn't have had that post-credit scene.
Yeah, so Dead Space 3 kind of picks up a little bit later, where Isaac is just chilling out on a like space station sort of thing, and then suddenly, lo and behold, a marker appears and starts turning everybody into necromorphs because, of course it does, and yeah, without like. Spoiler alert, because, I mean, most people... I liked Dead Space 3, actually. Like, as far as the general...
I'm not surprised.
As far as the general gameplay was concerned, it was still as good as the other two games. And, like, while I didn't like the... I didn't like the smaller number of weapons you could have on you. I appreciated the...
Was it 2?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Specifically because they implemented the weapon crafting system, which lets you basically just paste guns onto other guns.
I still don't like that.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have 4 still. But yeah, I really liked the actually that's the reason that I don't like the weapon limitation is because I really liked the weapon crafting, and it would have been nice to be able to actually like fool around with that more, but because the plasma cutter was still the most effective weapon in the entire game, you went through the game with a plasma cutter and another gun, and and you could barely ever like actually kind of experiment because the plasma cutter was just always there.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like the general gameplay was still fine, and so. Spoiler alert for Dead Space 3.
No one cares.
It ends with you fighting a moon.
What? I don't remember that. I remember watching a YouTube video of the ending, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, it ends with you having a punch-up with a moon.
What, like Resident Evil 5 Punch a Boulder style?
Like Bloodborne. The moon...
Okay. Wait, something comes down from the moon?
Yeah, the moon turns into a monster kind of thing.
Not Majora's Mask style moon fight?
No.
Okay.
It's like the moon in Dead Space 3, like, is actually just like a great old one, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's what you mean when they went, okay, let's just, like, shove a bunch of stuff to establish a franchise here.
Yeah, and so they, like... Yeah, they turn, because the moon is like, basically, I guess it's explained as being what's kind of creating the markers in the first place. And and it's like sending them out to turn people into necromorphs so that it can establish a hive mind and take over the universe. And so yeah, the moon like starts exploding and turns into a gigantic tentacle monster. And then then you have a punch up with Tentacle Moon, and you have to telekinesis markers into its weak spot.
Okay.
It's really weird.
Wait, does Isaac get like fucking massive superpowers that he can do that now?
Sort of, like his telekinesis, like kinetic power, whatever thing gets like supercharged or something.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's throwing markers at you, and you have to like grab them and toss them back at it.
That's like a Dead Space. Wait, have you heard of Taking Topic Run Again?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that reminds me of when they're starting to throw galaxies. Like, let's just like throw whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what size it is, just throw it.
It's very weird. And then they wanted to do they half-assed a cliffhanger ending. Like
oh, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, they had Isaac kind of be stranded in space after the conclusion of the battle. But then I think they did something that was like set after the end of Dead Space 3 where Isaac was still alive. So it was like, what's the point? I can't confirm. Like, I don't remember if that's actually what they did or not.
You have to keep the memorable character Isaac Clarke alive so you can make more games.
Right? Like, geez. I totally
think
couldn't just make a new character or anything.
I think Dead Space is, just primed to get rebooted, like in like
God.
3 or 4 years.
You just
know
wait.
it'll happen.
You just wait. They're gonna release a Dead Space HD collection.
Our Dead Space trilogy. I think more likely they're gonna just come out Dead Space, and then there'll be a reboot.
Oh God.
As if it's not confusing enough trying to search up game titles on Google.
Right.
Just have the latest installment be the same name as the first one.
Thief, Doom, Prey, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mirror's Edge. Well, no, Mirror's Edge Catalyst was.
God of War.
Yeah, God of War.
That's the God of War's the worst one because that's not a reboot.
yeah. Like what? That doesn't make sense. Like it's supposed to be the same Kratos, but it's completely like.
Yeah, it's just a time skip, and then there's just like, I don't know. Are you like erasing what happens in the first God of War?
I don't. Yeah. And then there's so many. There are actually so many games that, like, because there are tons of games that people don't care about that did that as well.
Oh, like Syndicate. That's the one.
Syndicate, yeah. I
even though that game should not have been called Syndicate. That has nothing to do with the original.
No, I didn't mind that game either. Actually, the boss fights are trash, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a AAA game. What do you expect?
I'm a fan of Cyberpunk anyway, so that shouldn't be surprising.
Oh yeah, of course you'd like that game.
But yeah, like Syndicate, Strider, by Capcom.
Strider? Oh yeah, it didn't have. Yeah, it was just called Strider, wasn't it?
Yep. And as mentioned, Thief and
I would have actually preferred the Forth instead of Thief.
The Fourth.
Yeah.
There's some other games that have done. There are tons of.
I'm not gonna count XCOM because that's at least a different subtitle.
Yeah, technically that is because originally it was what UFO Enemy Unknown or something.
Yeah, it's either UFO Enemy Unknown or XCOM something Defense or something.
UFO Defense.
UFO Defense. Yeah, that's it. So it's XCOM Enemy Unknown is neither of those.
Yeah, technically speaking, at least.
Technically.
God.
What annoys me is when people spell the new XCOM reboot with a hyphen and not all caps. So they're talking about the originals. It's like, oh man, that's just confusing. Just have all caps, no hyphen. That doesn't confuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Same game, same name reboots. Prey, Doom, Ratchet and Clank.
Oh god, Prey's the worst one because there's 2 games in that franchise and they're both called Prey.
and
There's
and,
only 2.
And the new one doesn't look anything like the old one did, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. It has nothing to do with the original. Oh god.
Ratchet and Clank that's a hilarious one as well because it's sort of a reboot of the first game, but it's sort of a tie-in to the movie, and it's sort of its own
I
thing.
think it's more to do with the movie.
But it literally like wholesale recreates areas from the first game,
Yeah.
like down to the exact same layouts and everything. It's hilarious. Star Wars Battlefront, of course.
Oh. That's another one of the worst ones because like that would actually maybe have made more sales if it was called Battlefront 3.
King's Quest is debatable, I would say.
No, I don't think that counts because that has a subtitle.
Does it?
Yeah, it's like, well, don't all of them have a subtitle? I think this one is called like an heir to the throne or something. I don't know.
I think
all of them are puns.
I think those are just the names of the episodes. Like I think
Well,
the game
either
as
way,
a
it's
whole
still
is just
something to
called
distinguish
King's
itself
Quest.
from the original.
Well, yeah, like that's one I would argue is kind of like acceptable at least. Shadowgate.
What?
Yeah.
What is that game?
Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
I betcha that was a PS2 game.
No, the original was apparently an adventure game in the 1980s.
Gotcha.
And it was re-released in 2014 as like a new title. It was inspired by the NES version of the game.
I've never heard of Shadowgate. Apparently it's like an established thing.
There's apparently a free-to-play version. There's a free-to-play Unreal Tournament that just came out as Unreal Tournament.
Just?
No, not like came out. It's listed as 2014 on here. Killer Instinct.
Yeah, I guess.
Shadow Warrior. Yep. Shadow Warrior 2013.
Shadow. Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
Yep. Tomb Raider. Yep.
Oh, God.
Tomb Raider 2013.
That was one of the first ones.
Oh, the SimCity 2013.
Yeah,
Came out on the same day as Tomb Raider.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
Well, what makes the Tomb Raider one... That one makes no sense, because the sequel is called Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
You'd think that would be the first one.
Well, we haven't risen yet in Tomb Raider, so...
Oh, Hitman. That's one. The newest one is just called Hitman.
Is it?
Yes.
Let's corroborate. Hitman. Indeed it is.
It's just called Hitman. Well, to be honest, none of the original Hitman games were just called that. They at least had something.
Yeah.
But still.
This is another one I would say is debatable. DMC Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
Mostly because everyone refers to it as DMC, so...
Yeah. Or Dante.
Oh, God. Need for Speed has a bunch
Oh,
of these.
yeah, that had 2 of them.
Most Wanted and Hot Pursuit.
Yeah.
Have... Because
they couldn't think of any other subtitles.
That's particularly fantastic because in the early 2000s there was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Then in the early 2000s there was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Then in 2010 there was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
Wait, I think the last Need for Speed game was just called Need for Speed.
Oh, there's been a bunch of them that were just completely ridiculous.
And then there was the movie.
Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Twisted Metal. That's this.
Everybody.
The
has
car
forgotten.
combat game is such a product of the PS2 era.
Yeah. Well, the original Twisted Metal games were on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, but I knew about them in the PS2. Well, no, PS2 is when you got more car combat games.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's.
It's another confusing
But everyone
one.
calls it Mortal Kombat 9.
I don't even know how they. Medal of Honor.
Oh, yeah. Ew, Medal of Honor. That game sold so poorly. EA canned it like entirely now.
Well, that was after Door Fighter.
That's Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Aliens versus Predator. That was another very similar to Prey situation, because they had Aliens versus Predator like back in 2000 or something, and then just like made another Aliens versus Predator game in 2010.
So yeah, they could have at least called it Predators versus Aliens.
Apparently, Bionic Commando.
Oh yeah, that one that turned into a third-person shooter, because of course it did.
Yeah, the game revolves around the protagonist's bionic arm used for swinging in combat.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. Alone in the Dark.
Oh. Yeah.
That
Illumination.
that awful survival horror game in
They do- Who publishes Alone in the Dark? Who owns that?
that was Atari, I believe.
Atari. Well, Atari. Still?
Yeah, well, until Illumination at least.
Yeah, because I was about to say, isn't Atari like dead? As
No, they
I haven't
they
heard the last thing they published.
they filed for bankruptcy in like what the 80s or 90s or something, but they've been like they published, Neverwinter Nights by BioWare. Like they helped publish The Witcher, I'm pretty sure. They've been a publisher all along, basically.
Right, but
and
never,
they
never gained their strength back.
No, not really. But yeah, they've had the rights to Alone in the Dark, and so yeah, 2008 they made Alone in the Dark, which was
That was on the Wii, wasn't it?
no, it was on it was on a bunch of different systems, but it was on let's see, Alone in the Dark 2008, because this is how you have to search for these types of games.
Oh yeah, how they're used.
By appending their year. Okay, so it came out for Windows, of course, PS3, Xbox 360, PS2, and Wii.
Ooh,
Yeah.
PS2.
And yeah, it apparently, like, some people wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it had just an absolutely awful control scheme.
Yeah.
Truly horrible. Like, so it had two different, like, modes. Like, you could be in first person or third person. But if you were in first person, you had to manage your blinking.
Oh, that was the game that had the blinking.
Yeah.
Because it was an old unskippable episode
Yeah.
where, yeah, you could blink manually.
Yep. Turok, 2008.
Oh yeah, what? Yeah, wow.
Yeah, not that people really think about Turok very much, anyway.
Yeah, I think of Turok 2 mostly.
Shadowrun, which was they tried to take Shadowrun, like the RPG,
Yeah.
and they tried to turn it into an online shooter.
What the? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good use of the license. Online shooter.
It was a game, I think, okay, so here was a game only released in Europe and Japan, apparently.
Okay, go on.
Altered Beast.
Oh yeah, that had a 360 game, didn't it?
On the PS2.
On the PS2. Or,
it had-
well, I only remember the cutscenes of like the transformations. That's what I thought.
There was another Altered Beast game with a subtitle that was released on the 360, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure which one was it, but I remember watching a YouTube video of all the transformations and being grossed out.
Yeah. Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's
Because Ninja
Absolutely
Gaiden was originally an NES game. Yeah, and then just the recent early access game, Master of Orion.
That's early access.
Yep.
Who's the? Well, I was about to say, normally AAA devs don't... I wouldn't expect them to go that route unless they're not AAA.
No. Who is developing Master of Orion, actually? There's also, of course, Prince of Persia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Not to be confused with the movie.
there's just so many video games that do that. It's like, it's practically a trope in itself by now.
It is, yeah.
Master of Orion is being developed by NGD Studios.
Who?
Exactly. NGD
I
Studios.
betcha it has some guys from the original theme, because that's what they always say.
On Steam, NGD Studios is responsible for games such as Bunch of Heroes, Champions of Regnum, Adventure Time, Finn and Jake's Epic Quest.
Wow, okay. Now, I've heard of a lot of Adventure Time games, but I haven't heard of that one. Unless it's on like mobile or something.
And Master of Orion.
Yeah.
So that's
those are the
interesting.
guys that their portfolio is what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's an interesting change of pace. It's being published by WG Labs, who at least they put Master of Orion 1, 2, and 3 on Steam.
Okay.
I don't actually believe those games are available for individual sale on Steam, though. You can only get them through the Master of Orion early access game.
Okay.
So that's
in case
good.
you're cautious about this new game, here's the old one.
Yeah.
Speaking of
let's see.
reboots,
Are we rebooting this torso?
yeah, we're taking off this guy's boots.
Adventure Time, Finn and Jake's Epic Quest. It has mostly positive review. It has 74% positive reviews
on Steam.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, okay. There's a lot of Adventure Time games. So I can't remember which one that one was.
I don't know if I've seen this one. It looks like a game.
Wait, that might be the VR one.
No.
Is it?
No.
I remember there was a new VR Adventure Time game.
Let's see how many Adventure Time games there are on Steam. Oh, that doesn't...
On Steam, well, there's Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations. I think that's on there.
Adventure Time.
Man, it's been a while since they said Adventure Time on the show.
Let's see. Okay, so let's filter out DLC if we can. Oh God, thank you, Steam.
What? They just give one?
No. Okay, so this is the list I have: Adventure Time, Finn and Jake Investigations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adventure Time, Magic Man's Head Games. Adventure Time, Finn and Jake's Epic Quest. Adventure Time, Secret of the Nameless. ...
Nameless. That's the Nameless Kingdom.
Okay. Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon, because that's one I've seen.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's actually because
I
I don't
know.
know. And then we have Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, The Adventure Games. Atonement, Scourge of Time. Putt Putt Travels Through Time.
Okay, so it's just getting everything with time in it.
Sonic Adventure 2.
What?
A Wise
Does
Use
that
of
have travel on
Time.
it? Okay.
Scribblenauts Unmasked. A DC Comics Adventure. Lego Indiana Jones 2, The Adventure Continues.
All these are just getting weirder.
Blades of Time. Oh God, that's a good one.
I need to play Blades of Time.
Time Tenshi 2. That's another one. Oh God. If people haven't seen Time Tenshi 2, that's... all you need to know about that game is that it's got boobs.
Wait,
Lots.
that as well?
Lots of very big boobs.
Really? Oh, well, I'd actually recommend Blades of Time.
Okay, so Time Tenshi 2. Time. Then TENSHI. I would actually recommend people look that up. just to see how absurd the proportions are on the characters. It's a visual novel on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's absurd. It has the biggest boobles that of any video game I've ever seen. It's hilarious.
What is it called?
Time Tenshi 2.
Okay, I'm gonna go look this up.
It's so weird.
Time Tenshi 2?
And here's where we
Yeah, they're not that big.
they're pretty flippin' big, man.
I've seen bigger.
Thank you. That head is getting in our way.
I have barely made any progress in this game.
Yeah, we're just kind of having fun, messing with the physics objects.
Yeah.
But yeah, this area is where we kind of first have to use the what's it even called anymore? Kinetic
Stasis?
stasis or something stasis recharge. There you go. So this is the first place where you kind of have to use that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you gotta.
Which is, I don't know. It's having a stasis feature or the Kinect, it just seems like such a out of place thing.
It's really the.
What's this Mass Effect ability doing here?
Yeah. The presence of the stasis and the kinetic telekinesis in the game, just in general, really
Just adds a lot of questions.
they confuse me because, first of all, I've never seen anybody play the game who actually regularly uses either of them.
Yeah. I've only ever used it for puzzles.
Yeah,
Because it's required.
it's not a part of the normal gameplay ever in any of the games.
Well, obviously Mass Effect has abilities similar to them, and you use those all the time because they're rechargeable. But in this case, they're a limited resource.
Yeah.
So you don't know, you never know when you're gonna need them,
Well, in fairness, they did try to make the kinesis module. Actually, yeah, I think that's what it's called. Actually, it's kinesis or something like that. They tried to make that more required in some of the other games by arbitrarily taking your guns away. So
yeah.
so there's that. So you had to use
Oh, right.
you had to use the spines from necromorphs to launch them at other necromorphs.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah, because if you can't find a way to have other players use a feature, you take away other features, so they have to use it.
I mean, basically, yeah. I feel like they did that mostly in 2 and 3. I don't remember exactly. Dead Space 1 and 2.
Because in the first game is kind of forgettable.
Yeah, 1 and 2 are really kind of blend together in my memory because it's been so long since I
So
played them.
similar.
Well, yeah, it's I always compare the Dead Space games to the Alien movies actually, because
Whoa, I don't see why.
oh yeah, but Dead Space 1, the first Alien, is it's kind of the most focused on having an actual survival horror kind of atmosphere. It's just set in this really derelict spaceship where everything has gone wrong and you're kind of being stalked throughout the corridors as you're going around trying to fix everything so you can get out of here. And it's not overly reliant on monsters, and at least in comparison.
Yeah.
And it has the most kind of legitimate surprises, I would say, I guess. Of course, the end of the first game gets really kind of bonkers with the tentacle monster.
You have to end off a AAA game in a AAA way.
Yeah, but
Just add this Lost Planet monster.
yeah. But then Dead Space 2, Aliens, is far more bombastic and actiony, and there's a lot more character interaction, and everything is just louder and more in your face. And then Dead Space 3, Alien 3, is very poorly regarded because people think they're trash.
Yeah. They are trash. Thus concludes the Dead Space trilogy, only to get rebooted.
Objectively speaking, neither of them are really awful, but they're not good in the context of their franchises and what they're following. So,
Is it... Third one's made by Visceral, right?
yeah.
That's a bit confusing. It's probably just EA going, you need to change up a few things, because we need this game to sell.
Yeah, well, like... Oh, God. There we go. Yeah, that guy got me the first time I played, too.
Yeah, like... They get more creative in Dead Space 2, because, like... I think there's one time when you exit out of a workbench when it attacks you.
It is hilarious. Like, whenever you see vents, you can be like, oh, there's probably gonna be a monster jumping out of there.
Yeah.
Like, at some point in the game. Ugh, that is a... There you go, thanks. Thank you for getting rid of that dangling thing. Blue.
Well, that's what you do to, like, babies. If they have any extra limbs or fingers, you just cut that. You cut that off before it gets like in the way.
Just stomp it off.
Yeah,
Just like
the doctors do.
throw them on the floor, and just curb stomp their.
You're not gonna remember they're babies.
God, could you imagine if that's how they took off umbilical cords? Just like curb stomped them.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be horrifying.
That was my favorite part.
Oh God.
Now, would you like to eat this?
Oh boy.
Eat this placenta.
No, never.
I provided sliced bread.
Not even once. Like, I almost one time saw a video of somebody doing that, and
You almost saw one? How do you almost see a video?
because it was like it was linked in some like I don't know, probably like some Reddit post or something that I got linked to, and it was just like, nope, not watching that. Like,
I'm not watching this mother eat the placenta of her newborn child.
Blah. God, it's just like I don't understand. Oh, I remember there was some Reddit user who posted. You're supposed to do that after him. Okay, all right. Okay.
No, it's useless talking to me in the past.
There was some woman who had like fried up her either her placenta or her menses or something.
Yeah.
And then just like posted pictures of it to Reddit, and it was like, this is
What I cooked.
this is probably one of the most disgusting things that I've ever seen. So thanks for that.
I don't know why it's like such a thing. Wouldn't that like be close to cannibalism?
It's gross is one thing. Like,
But should it be illegalized
I don't know if I would
or
say that.
standardized?
Well, no. But like, I mean,
Part of the ritual.
it depends on what you consider to be like cannibalism, I guess, because like, technically speaking, it's not a person.
Isaac,
It's just
you
something
did
that
it.
came out of them.
Transblocking the whole system.
Yeah.
The computer online
I guess it is one step
hologram from
away
the
from
faster
breastfeeding.
the better. I can hear something
It's
crawling
like-
around out there.
I don't know. It's weird to think about like eating products of the human body, because on the one hand,
What else is there? We got placenta,
well,
breastfeeding.
I mean,
Like what else?
on a visceral level, like it feels disgusting to suggest that like maybe you should eat human meat. Like, why would you ever do that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, on an actual like technical level, it's not really any worse than eating meat from animals. Like, on a moral and ethical level, it's completely different because we're humans. Like, although, to be perfectly honest, animals feel pain and everything, so, you know, that's kind of ethically questionable as well, but I still love hamburgers, so I don't care.
Uh-huh.
But it's a weird question, because, like, aside from the whole moral complications of eating human meat, like, it's just, at the end of the day, sustenance, just like meat from any other animal, you know?
Well, to me, it's just weird, so I'm not interested.
I mean, yeah, but there are a lot of things that are weird that people do anyway.
Yeah.
Like this guy, for example.
I think this is proof that I was using a mouse. Because I was having trouble with this guy.
Oh, well, yeah, whiffed that.
Oh, man, these boots are so hard to control. Oh no, I'm 25% dead. That's how I know.
If they
'Cause of my
were,
spine.
if they were to reboot Dead Space, what would you want to see?
They're just gonna follow the first one to a T. Like, it's gonna be Isaac Clarke and the Ishimura trying to escape,
Isaac, I've patched
whatever,
into the deck
like,
security system.
and they're gonna add
But I have
multiplayer,
the doors to the
co-op
maintenance
thing.
bay
Oh
unlocked.
God.
The data board should be
Please
somewhere
don't.
inside.
What if it was like a God of War where it's like it should be, like, it takes place after Dead Space 3, but they just call it Dead Space? They should call it like more Dead Space or like Deader Space.
Dead Space
Deadly
Revelations.
Deadlier Space.
Oh God.
Space Death.
It's
What was that one called? Dead Space Extraction?
that
Just call it that.
is A1.
Wait, there's been more than Dead Space Extraction and the Dead Space trilogy?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard of those.
Dead Space.
The Dead Space Cinematic Universe. I've watched that animated movie.
Let's see. Main series is Dead Space, Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3. And there's Dead Space Extraction on the Wii and PS3,
Isaac,
because PlayStation Move was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was Dead Space Ignition, which was
Oh,
a
yeah.
prequel to Dead Space 2, apparently. Because, you know, Dead Space 1 didn't serve as that enough.
Not enough people played it.
Was Dead Space... Yeah, Dead Space Ignition is an action puzzle game. It's
What?
it takes... takes the form of what executive producer Steve Papotsis describes as an interactive comic-style game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was...
What is it with comic,
Weird.
like, side things with new releases? Like,
And then there is also an iOS and Android game called Dead Space, set between the first and second game.
oh, yeah. That's so. Okay, so the reboot already happened. We didn't realize that.
But it doesn't... The game is set after the events of the original Dead Space, but prior to the events of Dead Space 2, and shows how the necromorph outbreak spread from the government to public sectors. Because they couldn't show that in the actual main games that people were actually going to play.
No. No, you couldn't.
Yeah, then there's, let's see, Dead Space Downfall, Dead Space Aftermath. The aftermath of this video is going to be Dead Space, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, wait, that was it. Okay.